is Teresita Blanco, the Artsy sister, and we're continuing with Saturnastra Lamina. This is, chapter 4. The Tower Zuberus. You are unable to disguise your instant hatred for the man, and he notices when you say, "What is this about? I had done nothing to inspire your suspicions and distrust." "How bothered you to speak to the wizards in such a fashion?" Zuberus asks, "and only someone who foolishly believes himself to be my equal would be so brazen. Forgive me for not being impressed by your meager powers, and like I have told your underlings, I am here to protect my charges, and as long as no harm comes to them, no harm shall come to you. And do we have an understanding?" you say. "I heard similar threats from lesser demons, and I do not sense any magic or demonic powers from you, and I cannot help but take your threats lightly," says Zuberus, convinced of his superiority. "And what I lack in powers I make up for in experience, my good man, and forgive me for making it sound as if I was threatening you," you answer. "Ah, that is much better, though if you would indulge me, what are you exactly?" He asks, still on edge, and you can feel him about him his demon familiars and the blessing of the gods he commands, and he certainly gives himself enough importance to warrant your attention. In answer to this question, you take the form of a Sphynx, and he notices the fairies and ghosts that surround you, and coming to an understanding, he exclaims, pointing at you, "You are the Sphynx from the children's cemetery, and I have heard stories of Hatioshas in ancient burial grounds, and I was under the impression that all of them had lost their power. So I've been told you command more to yourself, and the Archmago was around you, eyeing you from head to toe with professional curiosity. And in part he is getting this vibe because of the talisman you wear around your neck, and it is a stone you took from the base of the Sphynx statue." "And what do they call you?" he asks. "They call me Lamina, and before you get any stupid ideas, I am not as weak-willed as the demons you struck about. Now good day to you, sir," you say, flying out the window, and in the process you purposely break the glass, and you hope that with this display of hostility the Archmago will give up on speaking with you. And before landing on Irving's window, your eyes turn in the direction of the sea, and you decide to take a small dunking before returning to the tower. And while bathing, the fairies inform you of the hundreds of eyes staring at you. And you think word travels fast in the mage tower, and the fairies inform you that Irving is being badgered with questions from the apprentices and the new inductees. And the other members of the mage tower have enough common sense to keep their distance, and they come to a complete halt when the Archmago makes an appearance, and revenants are a rare sight indeed, more so because these creatures have enough common sense to manifest away from prying eyes, and the Archmago is not used to the idea of being dead. And instead of seeing him for what he is, the students assume he's just one of the many demons the Archmago keeps in his tower. And indeed the place is so crowded with them, one has to wonder how can a man keep his benevolent facade with a straight face, and he ushers them out of the room, and finally Irving has some peace and quiet. And like you, he has some reservations about dealing with other humans. And also, since to your poor use of word, Irving imagines himself no longer human, and for your purposes this suits you just fine. And you return 5 hours before midnight, and the sun of the ocean has made you linger for quite a long time. And you take on the form of a human to go up the stairs the old-fashioned way, and you revel in the looks of admiration, disgust, and curiosity that follow your every step. And all of those who surround you are suspicious of you and cannot bring themselves to act upon the suspicion out of fear. And there is still a few weeks before class officially starts, and you tell one of the apprentices, "What is it? Have you anything to say?" "I am surprised that the Archmago has not kicked you and your pets out of the tower," he comments. "The mage is a reasonable man, and I may be a little rude, but his full-edged sense of duty is bound to get the better of him," you command. And when you return to Irving's room, you are saddened to see him sleeping on the floor, and his little goat is sleeping beside him, resting his head on Irving's hip. And you take the bell and start focusing on your gaze on the roof, and sitting up you take the bell with the human remains, and one by one you remove the pint of dust and spread it on the ground, and while halfway done, the voices whisper, I would not do that if I were you. You have plenty of time to stop me, and why bother waiting so long, you say, smiling. The voice in the darkness steps forward, and the amorphous darkness takes the form of a panther, and pouting you command, "How unoriginal. I pity that my client lacks the imagination to think up a better form for someone such as I," says the demon, walking towards your bed, and he rests his paw and head at the edge of your bed. "You could put on your true skin if you find such a body beneath your magnificence," you whisper You whisper, remembering that Irving is asleep. Looking at Irving with the corner of his eye, the demon commands, the boy is a heavy sleeper when she has a mind to. Ah, so you noticed too, you add. And will you be informing your master of this little bit of information? Abyssus abunso involved, says the demon before leaving. And you complete your nightly task, and after spreading the dirt, the spirits of the children finally find rest beneath the sea, beneath the beach side. And you would have left the dirt outside the beach itself, however you do this instead of a spy for reasons you hope you become apparent in the near future. And some other favorites chuckled at the shadow of this behavior you were obviously showing. The first few weeks in the tower were uneventful, and after the initial curiosity, the new this finally realized that Irving was indeed just a peasant boy with some well-connected friends. And while the noble children conversed about philosophy, poetry, and the meaning of life, Irving preferred to speak about the animals he used to take care of in the farm, and he would often go to the stables and help the servants in the daily tasks of his own volition. And he found the new animals in the stables, and he said that they were quite fascinating. Like the beasts they pretended to be, those guardian spirits, familiars, demons, and other spooks require maintenance, and it was tradition in that world that those familiars would only speak with others when their master ordered them to, and the rest of the time they had to keep out the appearance, and since it was an unspoken rule, none of the mages ever tried to socialize with familiars belonging to their peers. And in a sense, they were just tools for magic and nothing more, at least as far as these magic users were concerned. Irving did not know this fact, and he liked animals, even dangerous beasts like the wolves and the tigers. And he fed and took care of all of the strange creatures he ran into, and he would speak to them non-stop while doing so, as was his habit. And the owners found his sin for chattering amusing, so they never bothered to enlighten him. While Irving amused himself with his new creatures, you amuse yourself with the hauntings of your spirit children. And since they were in a new crowded location, they spent their time pulling pranks, and they would put a single book out of order, or throw the writing feather to the floor when the mages were not looking. And today being Irving's first official classes, and he wakes up at the crack of dawn as usual, and you force him to do his morning libation before sending him off wearing clean clothing, and he had a light breakfast, and he did his self-imposed chores attending to the animal, and thus being neglected by the help at the moment. And while Irving does it, you go to the library to peruse the books, and the librarian comments, "These books are meant for the eyes of the masters and the journeymen. I was under the impression that the masters allow free access to knowledge for all those who seek it," you answer. "Ideally, yes, but I was tasked to keep foolish novices from hurting themselves by trying to master magic they can barely pronounce," said the librarian. And before the conversation continues, Zuberus enters the library and says, "Let the creature do whatever he pleases," and the librarian bows and allows you to do as you will. And you narrow your eyes when you hear that Zuberus calls you a creature. And after living for a couple of weeks in the tower, you notice that all of its residents are... No, let him do whatever he wants. The librarian bows and allows you to do as you will, and you narrow your eyes after hearing Zuberus call you a dude. And after living for a couple of weeks in the tower, you notice that all of its residents are males, even the servants and slaves. And you decide to confront Zuberus on this fact, but guessing your frame of thought, he gestures with his hand and says, "Not here." And you start picking up around books and randomly flipping through them, and Zuberus comes and sits down in a nearby cushioned chair to watch your progress. And you look at him for him to toy, and he avoided all of the magical cliches of closed pouches and spell components, etc. And indeed, he just looked like a noble prick, right down to the pocket watch. And from what you have seen and heard, he relied 100% on his familiar demons and his blessings to cast magic. And as such, he had never bothered with spell components or other types of gimmicks. And even when he forgot a spell, he always had a companion devil to whisper to him what the missing line. And after not finding anything useful, you ask while holding a spell book, "And why are there no women inside the tower?" "And why should there be?" says Zuberus. "Women's only purpose in life is to be wives and mothers, and most of the male students here have either wives or lovers back home, and to allow women into the tower would cause them to tarnish their honor by being unfaithful, and I avoid this by keeping the tower free of the lesser gender." "You're not doing anyone any favors by keeping prospective witches from entering your school," you answer. "And you are an outsider to our ways, and I do what I must to maintain the peace and order of the tower, and magic these days is seen as a hobby of the idle nobleman and petty merchant, and it's hard enough to maintain one's autonomy as is. Bringing women bring more complications to the table, and I would much rather my students focus on magic while staying on the tower, and one will naturally distract them from their work, he concluded. You are almost tempted to smash in his head with what telling him that you are actually a woman, and you refrain from doing so because everyone with eyes could see that you are a woman. And so Zuberus looks left and right, and then he whispers, I am not opposed to women having some sort of education. Rather, I hate dealing with angry husbands and murderous fathers, and in fact I do have quite a number of females in my ranks, and as long as they keep their gender and identity a secret, I will pretend not to notice them. And this conversation at least explained to you why he called you a man. And after failing to find anything of words, you proceed to attend Irving's first classes, and you begin to ponder what had become of the tones your father had given to the original Master Zuberus. And you enter the classroom, and they're in the middle of the indoctrination ceremony, and the teacher, who was a girl disguised as a boy, frowns when she sees you, and she says in a faint, low voice, You have interrupted my class. That was not my intention. Please continue, you answer chuckling. And the teacher lady cannot even fathom why the Archmagus allows you to stay dressed in such a feminine fashion. And the teacher's drone sounds about the importance of keeping magic a secret and the dangers of using magic in public. And Irving raises his hand to speak, and the teacher ignores him and continues. And you look about and find the largest stone within your sight, and you hold it with both hands and drop it on the floor. And raising her voice, the teacher says, I cannot work under these conditions. Be gone with you. Make me, you answer. You are acting very childish, commented the Bashmagus. Who asked you? You answer, looking in the direction of the Bashmagus. And since the witch was an apprentice and the Entontes was fresh, none were able to see the Bashmagus, and he approached precisely maintained his incorporeal for to make you look quite foolish indeed, and sighing you command, Why must you drone on about the proper uses of magic? If the little people fear magic as much as you claim, then there is no danger of using magic in public. I suppose the little princess would like to give the lecture herself, said the teacher sarcastically. And the new students looked nervous at one another, and there was an unspoken rule about not noticing a woman inside the tower, and if the gender was discovered, they were usually kicked out. I am a little princess when I have a mind to do so, and I can also become a prince, if it would please you, miss, you say, getting up and giving a proper bow. And the teacher's face was beat red with uncontrollable fury, and stammering, she said, Is it your intention to be in every class? Yes, I must make certain everyone is getting the education I pay for. And if you choose to ignore him because of his rank or lack thereof, then it is my duty to make your life a living nightmare, you say, putting your foot down twice. And is it your intention to make an enemy of everyone in the tower? Asked the teacher. No, that was not my intent. But I am not the type of person who meekly allows herself to be humiliated. Nor would I allow you to do the same to my dear Irving, and you add, Have we come to an understanding? And sighing, the teacher meekly bows and said, Yes. The teacher then storms out of the room and was gone like 5 hours, and based on the fairy, she had gone to complain to the master, one of the journeymen of the tower, and she said she had no intention of teaching an only person and his ill-mannered demonic companion, and she argued that the tower had no need of troublemakers such as them, and they would be better off without them. And when all is said and done, Irving's class was taught by a practical, level-headed, middle-aged man named Mirdin, Bottom of Society. And he normally did not offer classes, nor did he keep any non-apprentice, and due to the familiar nature of his name, you curb your temperament. And Mirdin sat down and read through the lesson plan in front, and he threw them into the blaze, and he walked towards the chalkboard and wrote down swiftly the ABCs of magic. And below them he wrote the phonetic pronunciation, and he also wrote the pronunciation of each combination of consonant and vowels. And Mirdin tells the student, and these are the ABCs of magic. Learn and memorize them, otherwise you will not be able to read a single book in the tower. And then he makes a motion to leave the classroom, and one of the students blurts out thoughtlessly, Is that all? Don't you have any homework for us or worksheets? Smiling sarcastically, merely says, I thought I made my instruction perfectly clear, and how you go about learning this new information is your business. And next week I will have you read some spells out loud to see if you master the information I gave you. And just like that he goes, and you instantly like this teacher for his hands-off approach, and the students look at one another perplexed, and they're used to having the information beating into them, and some even seem uncertain as to what to do. And only Irving bothers to jot down the information written on the board, and as a shepherd he did not require any supervision to get his tasks done. After jotting down the information, Irving leaves the classroom with you, and you tell him, "I like your new teacher, he seems like a nice man." "The other lady was nice too until you showed up," says Irving, smiling, and his baby goat trails behind him, occasionally leaving little presents Irving picks up and puts away in a special airtight bag. And for what he has been told, mages were supposed to grow their own herbs and ingredients, and goats can be used to produce one of the best fertilizers in the industry. And what's more, their droppings do not attract flies, and they do not burn plants. And since Irving's first class was supposed to last 4 hours, he had plenty of idle time available, and the second class of others will not come until the lunch was served, and he goes with you to the stables to tend to 2 horses and his goat mother. And the goat was more than 16 years old, as such he had less of an inquisitive nature. "And what tending to the goats?" you asked Irving, "and why don't your goats have names?" "I used to name my favorites, but my father kept killing the ones I kept naming, and to keep them alive I stopped naming my goats," said Irving nonchalantly. Bashmager comments, "What a horrible brute." "It's fine, I know now why he did what he did, and I forgive him, but to be honest, I do not hate the idea of never seeing him or anyone I used to know anymore," says Harry, brushing the mane of a mare. While he continues his chore to make little cue cards with letters and the pronunciation, and once you finish you show each of them whenever he looks in your direction and have him pronounce them, and you also proceed to read to him aloud one of the magical books of your father, and the nearby servers start noting the words of magic, and they draw closer as if to listen, and little do they realize that the words are simply mnemonic devices, and without the power and control, magic words are useless, and you know for a fact that everyone will not remember these words you speak, and rather you wish to lay a little trap on those who wish to listen to your conversation, and they repeat and memorize and the curse they carry. And this prolonged exposure to humans has slowly made you into a better woman, and the less these mages resemble your father, the more you grow to hate them, and you feel that you have made an error in your judgment, and this doubt will not help Irving become a better mage, or even a regular mage for that matter, though it would at least help him learn the basics, and once he becomes decent enough, then you will take the anchor and try your luck elsewhere. And Irving completes his chores, and then you go with him to the herbalist class, and the herbalist could name you every type of herb in his system. However, when it came time to cultivating the herbs, she was a novice at best. Then again, discovered only ghosts were the two that had been supplied by John Irving, and in the middle of class, he stood up, and Irving as well. And when we were outside, he asked, "And what do you make of this school?" "Frankly, I want our money back, and it's a good thing I only paid for half a year, and it will be all we will require for you to learn the ABCs of magic," you explained. "If you knew this school was no good, then why do you suggest it?" says Irving in alarm. And his gaze looks not at you but at the goat, and she was in the middle of reading the pages of a magical tome he had borrowed from the library. And looking at the goat, you say, it's fine, they don't lend the good books to novices. Anyway, now let's go back to practice." "Ah!" And Irving learned steadily the ABCs, and his professor Maiden was pleased with his progress. And he started giving private lectures to Irving of his own volition, and after 2 months he gave Irving his first official spell book. He told him, "This tome is filled with the most basic, weakest spells, and learn them and memorize them because they are the core of all the strongest spells that follow." "Thank you, Master Maiden," says Irving, bowing. "How is that little missy of you?" asked Maiden. "The same as usual," comments Irving. "Really, but she's so sweet to you, and she's even civil to the youngest in the teeth," comments Maiden. "You're wrong, Lamina only gets along with dead humans, and she has even told me numerous of times that the only good human is a dead one," says Irving, chuckling. "And everyone now was used to finding out his happenings even when you were not around. And later on at night you will go to the beach to practice the basics of spell with Irving, and you instruct him to bring with him the 2 goats and the horses as well, and the Bashmago too is present in the flesh." And when Irving comes, he comments, "And why don't we practice magic inside the tower, and the other mages practice their magic inside? Today is a nice day, and why practice indoors when you can accidentally ruin your items if you miscast, and also reserving training rules are expensive, so we have to do without it," you explain. "I see, said Irving, nodding. And before doing any magic, you must have a strong, healthy body, and this will help you avoid spell exhaustion. And when mages cast, even when relying on a steady source, they must put a bit of their own flesh to keep the magic from harming them. And this fragment of your life force, soul, blood, or whatever you want to call it, is what keeps your hands from burning up if you shoot a fire spell, you explained. And while we need animals as Irving, they will help serve as a source of magic, and since you are near them so often, you already have a certain affinity to them, and it will be easy to draw power from them, you explained. And I would prefer not to hurt them, explains Irving. Well, I don't think you will hurt them, but don't quote me on this. And if anything changes with your pets, you can stop channeling magic from them. And besides, my father does not rely on familiars for his magic. Although all beginners started with one, and you won't have to use your goat forever, just until you learn to tap into other sources of magic, you explain. Can your father teach me magic? Asked Irving. He can. His magical research consumes him, and the day he has nothing to learn, that will be the day he will bother to teach another living creature. And the good news is that every century or so he hits a wall, and it is during that time that he bothers to publish his findings or to train an apprentice, you explain. Is he an elf? Asked Irving. Define elf for me, you ask. And since Irving looks at you confused, you insist on having him proceed with his training. And the days pass, and Irving still fails to see magic as a tangible reality, and one of the demons suggests taking over his mind and having him do a simple spell, and doing such a thing is easier said than done, and only your crazy sister has the ability to take over somebody's body and soul. And in the end, you turn to the batch magos, and during one of those classes by the beach, you tell him exasperated, "Batch mago, can you possess Irving and make him cast a single spell?" Well, what? Says Irving alarmed, and I don't like the idea of being possessed. It's fine, in fact, you might like it. And it's not a matter of surrendering yourselves, you explain. And shaking his head, the batch mago commands, "You are a terrible teacher, Lamina, and is this how they teach magic from where you're from?" They don't teach magic, and at the few mages we do have come fully trained, and as far as magic is concerned, we are quite rudimentary when it comes to training department, you explain. Then you should admit you don't know what you're doing and shut up during Irving's classes, says the batch mago angrily. And just because your father is a great wizard and you have all of his theoretical knowledge, does that mean you know a thing about about turning someone into a great magic user? I just call it how I see it, and I can tell when people are selling me a lemon. And if the school does not get serious about helping Irving become as strong as quickly as possible, then we will have to try elsewhere, you say, annoyed. And when you bother to look around, you see Irving, you see the foam of the ocean bubbling around him, taking shape, and you give him a sideways look and ask, "How are you doing that?" "I don't know, you guys were arguing and this ocean started acting funny, and I do not call your attention to it because I thought that someone in the tower was playing a magical prank or something," he comments. And the foam moves back to the footstep each time the die comes out, and you touch the strange footstep with your hand and recall back, and then comment, "Well, that is something." And you lick your hand until the stinging sensation goes away, and the batch mago asks, "What sort of spell was it?" Alright, so we'll leave it here. Bye bye and God bless.